Pero tralala, bombardiro crocodilo. Alright, so what is up? Welcome back to the channel. Clash Royale just released, or I guess Royal API, but whatever, same thing. The new balance traders for next season were just released. They went, not gonna go live for quite a bit, which is nice. But there's quite a few big changes I'd like to talk about, so I'm just gonna kind of go somewhat in detail through all of them, just kind of give my thoughts on what I think about them. Also, these are the work in progress balanceators, not the final ones. So if you disagree with some of these, which is I do, perfectly fine. You can just go into there's like a poll somewhere at the end of this, and you can just vote, and hopefully they get changed according to what you want. Well, yeah, I'll just go in through the balanceators, and we'll see what's the big changes for next season that are gonna come. So yeah, that's like the main table that. Okay, so the first thing we got is tornado nerf. Fucking, this is huge. This is actually insane. 50% damage reduction. I'm assuming this is gonna apply to crown towers too, so it's gonna do like 27 damage to crown towers, which is insane. I mean, tornado's been very, very strong for quite a long time. It's been really good, especially now if ices are getting a big buff. Pretty few months ago, actually, it's been quite a while. But you know, those kind of decks, Splash Yard, Baby Dragon, Ice Wizard. Very strong with the tornado, and a lot of other decks too. It's been using beatdown quite a bit. Lumberloon, Goblin Drill, very strong card, even minor. So that's a huge nerf to tornado. I think what it's gonna change is that it won't be able to kill skeletons at all. If it won't be able to kill skeletons at all, I'm pretty sure, if they're one level higher, and it won't be able to kill spear goblins, which is kind of insane. Not really sure how I feel about that, but could be pretty cool. I think it's going to be a huge nerf for the tornado, and also it's going to be really mainly used for just pulling troops. But I think it's still going to be an okay spell. I don't think it's going to be great at all, though. I think it's going to be more like a C tier spell now. Now rage nerf. This one hurts. Obviously, this is also a nerf for the lumberjack, the evil lumberjack too. 23% damage reduction, that's quite a bit. I mean, I don't know how much interactions this actually changes, because it'll still kill spear goblins. The only interaction you won't have is that it won't be able to kill under-leveled goblins and stuff like that. But at least it still kills the spear goblins, unlike the tornado, so it's still going to be okay. Personally, I don't think the rage needs the nerf. It's already been nerfed enough. It got, I think, the Lumberjack's Rage already got a nerf last season, and the Rage in general got a nerf. The Rage got a duration reduction from 6 to 5.5 seconds, and the Lumberjack and they also changed it so that when a troop leaves the Rage, it only stays raged up for 1 second, as opposed to the 2 seconds it used to have in the past. So honestly, this might be a bit of an overkill nerf in my opinion. I don't think Rage needs that much of a nerf. I don't think it's honestly kind of a fine card the way it is. Gobletstein nerf, I actually don't think this one was really called for. It's like, dude, the Gobletstein is not that OP anymore. And I think still the main problem with it is just the part that makes it the strongest is just the fact that the ability just does so much damage. I think the Gobletstein, the Goblin monster, has a good enough amount of health. 2,393 or 2,400 pretty much. Wasn't that much anyways. Like, that's what, like, a Valkyrie at that level has 1,900, right? So it's not much health more than a Valkyrie, and it's a 5 elixir card. So, but I don't know. I just hope they don't give it the Little Prince treatment and it becomes unusable. Next we got the Dagger Duchess nerf. The only interaction this changes is that it will now take 4 shots to kill wall breakers and the bomber, so the same as the Princess Tower. Before, it used to have a slightly higher damage than the Princess Tower, so it could 3-shot those cards, which was useful in some matchups. It's not a huge difference, so it's not a crazy nerf for the Dagger Duchess. Honestly, I think she was a little bit strong last season, but she wasn't that strong. She was only strong because of all the bait going around. When the meta was more of a heavier kind of decks, Dagger Duchess wasn't that crazy. And I don't know, I just think this nerf is a bit uncalled for as well because she was just situationally strong because of the meta, and that's kind of my take on it. Berserker buff, I could kind of get behind that. The HP buff, I think this might allow her to tank a hit from an overleveled P.E.K.K.A. And maybe, I don't think it lets her survive a lightning though, but like, it'll still help her out a little bit. But I think could make her a bit usable, because she's been kind of absent from the meta since Rude Giant got that nerf. So that's pretty good, I guess. Maybe we'll see the Berserker in some actual original decks instead of just some Rune Giant cheese stuff. Suspicious Bush buff. I mean, the Suspicious Bush on paper is a good card, but like I guess and like whenever people try to use it in decks, it just really sucked. So maybe this could make it useful. I think this is definitely a good buff. I mean, 30% is a fucking shit ton of damage. I mean, like 256. I'm trying to put that in perspective for King. It's tower level 11. 256. That's like 10% of the tower almost per hit. Like, what else is 256 a hit? That's more than, that's like almost as much as like a Mega Knight shot or like a Valkyrie shot, right? 256 is a lot. It's the same as a Lumberjack. So each one of those little goblins that spawns out of it is the same damage as a Lumberjack. It's quite a bit. Okay, the Evolve Tesla buff. So the pulse damage plus 18%. So it's gonna do 180 now, or 174. Honestly, I don't even think this does a whole lot to the Evo Tesla. Like, the big thing of the pulse is this: it was never to do damage. I mean, just to have that little stun on all the troops and clear out minor swarms like skeletons and that. Like, it doesn't change any interaction. It still kills. It always killed spear goblins. It always killed skeletons, but it still won't be able to kill goblins and minions. So I don't think this does a whole lot to the Evo Tesla. Honestly, I think this is kind of a nothing buff. I do think the Evo Tesla needs a buff. As much as I hate the card, I think it does need a buff for sure. But this is not enough for sure. This is still going to be one of the worst Evos in the game. And okay, get ready for this one. I already saw all these balance changes, of course, and this one just fucking ruined my day. My beloved Evo Lumberjack. Oh my god. Look how they massacred my boy. Oh my god. Dude. 1 to 2 cycles just to get 10% ghost damage. That is... So the ghost damage is going to be the same as the regular Lumberjack now. But... 2 cycles now. That's actually such a huge nerf. Because... in any... most Lumberjack decks, I'm the odd one out that runs Lumberjack cycle decks for fun. Most Lumberjack decks are beatdown decks or Lumberloon decks that are really heavy. A 2-cycle evolution is a huge nerf to that, especially it's going to make that so much harder to get. I think if the Evil Lumberjack was you could just spam it, I will agree. I'll be the first one to say Evil Lumberjack was broken. Definitely one of the strongest evolutions in the game. Very, very strong, almost unfair. But this is also too big of a nerf. I remember they did it to the Evil Bomber. The Evil Bomber was still okay when they made it 2 cycles, but it was definitely significantly worse. But Evil Bomber was more broken than this was, for sure. I think the Lumberjack will probably be in the bottom half of the evolutions in the game, I'd say. I think if they're going to make it 2 cycles, which I think it should be, I don't think it should be a 1-cycle evolution, I'm going to be honest. I think it needs a bigger buff to compensate for this. And I don't know how they could buff it, because I really don't think they should give it back the fact that you can stack raiders to keep the ghost alive. I don't think that's a good one. But also I think that this is a bit too harsh of a nerf for the little buff they're giving in return. Yeah, I don't really know what they could do. Maybe increases the goat's lifetime by a little bit too, to add to that or something. Like maybe I don't know, but something has to be done, I think, for that, because I definitely think it's killing the card a little bit. It's definitely a little bit annoying to see. I mean, Clash Royale does have to stop doing this whole shit. I try not to hate on Clash Royale too much, because I think they have been going in a better direction recently than they have before. But shit like this has to stop, man. You gotta stop releasing a broken ass evolution and just fucking nerfing the hell out of it a couple months after, okay? Like, if I was trying to get Evil Lumberjack and I saw this nerf, I'd be pissed as hell. But I mean, I got to play with it when it was broken, because Clash Royale, man. But I don't know. I think it's definitely too hard of a nerf, and it's really annoying to see a card that was like really, really good get nerfed when it's being more easy to get as a free to play. And now this is like one of the biggest changes to the whole set of balance changes. I think this is even more major than the lumberjack because this is affecting a lot of cards. So every goblin card in the game is getting the rework. Well, a nerf. Rework nerf. So what they're gonna do is, I think they're making the first hit time take longer to have on every goblin. So every goblin is gonna take 0.6 seconds now to get their first hit in instead of 0.4 seconds. That's a big nerf. But on the goblin cards that weren't broken, like the goblin barrel and the goblins, they're compensating for that with making the deploy time shorter, which is great. I fuck with that. That's really good. So obviously all these cards, the goblins, the goblin barrel, they're all going to be the same. If anything, they might even be a little bit harder to stop since they will lock on their target slightly quicker, but they will get their first hit in. And if anything, actually, this is more of like a buff to these cards because they will lock onto their targets a little bit earlier. I do think Goblin Barrel needed a buff, not so much the evil Goblin Barrel, but that's okay. I mean, it's like a negligible buff. Like you're probably not even gonna notice the difference, but that is what it is. But really, it's gonna say the same thing. It's like almost nothing. But this is where the nerfs actually happen. Here they're getting the same thing to the goblins, but they're not giving it the deploy time compensation. So the Goblin Gang, definitely a broken card. It was kind of being seen everywhere. It was like the go-to little swarm kind of card, and just fucking did everything for you. Like you'd see it in recruits, bait, bridge spam, everything. It was really too strong. So I'm really happy to see this. I don't know. I kind of got sick of facing against Goblin Gang. I'm more of a Skarmy fan myself. Even that card sucks, but it's fun to play. Well, I will be messing around with Skarmy tomorrow's video, so let me, you'll stay tuned. You'll see some cool stuff with that. Evil Goblin Giant, I think that's also called for sure. I mean, even after the nerf it got, it was still very strong. Now it's actually going to be a little bit weaker. It's going to be easier to get rid of those, stop those goblins from getting on your tower and doing a ton of damage. The Goblin Curse, also I agree with this one, because it was very easy to cheese someone's tower if you just do Rage Curse, and like the goblins immediately just get at least 1 or 2 shots in your tower, and that's pretty much like 2,000 damage. There's nothing you can do about it for 4 elixir. So I like this. Now at least your opponent has a little bit of time to react to the Goblin Curse. So I think that's definitely about a good change for sure. And now we got the Evil Mortar also. I mean, I don't know how noticeable this one's going to be. This might actually make it so that the Goblin only gets 1 shot on the Princess Tower after getting launched, which could be actually a pretty big nerf to the Evil Mortar. I don't think the Evil Mortar was that broken. It was just more the cards that went with it that were very strong. I mean, Goblin Gang was being seen with Evil Mortar a lot. Ice Wizard was being seen with Evil Mortar a lot. So I think it's more the cards and not so much the Evil Mortar. But I mean, I never liked playing against Mortar, so I'm not opposed to seeing Mortar get that little nerf that it deserves. Well, not deserved, but deserved in my heart. And so my little personal bias there. Whoops. Okay, and now that's the last one is the Goblin Drill and the Evil Goblin Drill. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of fair. The card was very strong. It was definitely very hard to stop those goblins from stacking on your tower. So this will definitely make it easier just to get a troop in front of the drill and actually stop the goblins from getting that shot on your tower. Because I did feel a lot of scenarios, unless you were like very good at countering the Goblin Drill, it was always like a free goblin shot, which is 120 damage at like level 11, which is, once you get to overtime, it starts to stack up quite a bit, and it's really annoying. So definitely nice to see that. I agree with these changes. I think I actually agree with. I kind of capped at the start of the video. I think I agree with almost every change, except for. Yeah, I probably disagree with the Rage, the Monster, the Dagger Duchess, and the Tesla and the Lumberjack. That's actually quite a bit. So no, I do actually disagree with about half of the changes here. But I think a few of them are in the right direction, but maybe not enough. Like the Evil Tesla could definitely have used more of a nerf, definitely not more of a buff, definitely not buffed enough. I do think the Lumberjack needs a nerf, but just not that strong of a nerf. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts for today. Also, yesterday's video did really well in terms of views, slightly less in terms of likes and dislikes. I think it's got one of the most dislikes of all my videos yet, so If you watched that video, just let me know what you didn't like about it. I'll try and like fix it for the next videos. Don't just leave a dislike and don't say shit, because that's fucking useless. If you actually have just something you didn't like about the video, just fucking comment it. If and that, I think that goes for like any video. If the person can't take the criticism they're getting in the comments, then they're just a little bitch. So that's about it for today. Yeah, just let me know what you didn't like with that video. All ears for criticism. I'm still learning most of this shit. Yeah, that's about it for today. Tomorrow will be a video on the clone. And yeah, that's about it. See ya.